Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be setting up the Doorbell Lite. We're going to be mounting it, running the cable. Finally time to do this, so let's get started.
You may have seen the unboxing video I did recently, but now it's time to finally install this doorbell. So let's get started, and you guys should stick around to the end if you want to see my thoughts and recap on the actual doorbell itself. But until then, let's install the doorbell. So this is a project that I did not know how hard this would be. As you'll see, we ended up having to take a lot of the siding off, and this is a lot more difficult than I would have expected. So we begin here with trying to get the cable to the doorbell, because of course this doorbell is Ethernet only, and we'll talk more about that later. So what are we going to do for that? Well, thankfully the basement is actually exposed. That is the old server room right below it. So the idea was we can just pop a cable up the wall. But let me tell you, it was not that easy. So what did we have to do? Well, after a bunch of attempts, I used a outdoor rated cable, which probably shouldn't have been used because it is not a plenum rated riser cable. But we tried to use one of those metal fish tapes. That did not work. I had to purchase some fishing rods, not actually fishing rods, but cable fishing rods, which these things are for, you basically make the sides you want, you screw them together, and then you run it up the wall with whatever length you need. And that's the way to get it up the wall, because it's a solid thing and it basically just gets it straight up the wall. So we just pushed it through, and I was not even all the way up. I was about 3 feet up, and my dad already got it, which is phenomenal. So let's go upstairs and check it out. So my dad has just informed me, and I can see for myself as well, that we can see the pole rod in here. The rod is just hanging out right there. So at this point, since it came through the middle hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to fish it through, and then I'll pull the rod through on that hole over there, because this is the hole where we want the wire to come through for the doorbell. Once I get that through, I'll tie the fishing rod onto here, and then I'll pull that all the way through. Okay, so we've gotten the pole stick through. That was a pain in the butt. But what that did for us is now we are able to go downstairs, tie up the Ethernet cable, and in theory, we can pull this out and get the Ethernet cable to come through. So let's go try that now. And we drilled 3 holes. Unfortunately, we really only needed 1, but we ended up drilling 3 holes. We were able to pull the cord through one of those holes. So we could have just pulled the wire up, which is what I wanted to do. But per my dad's recommendation, we should do this first and then pull the Ethernet wire up, which is fine. So I grabbed some power wire, running that down, and then I'll go downstairs, I'll tie it up, we'll pull it back up and through. He said it's probably a better idea so the stick doesn't break as we're coming out of the hole, which I agree with. So I'm gonna go tie it up downstairs, and we should be able to pull it back out. In theory, everything is going to go smoothly, although time will tell. There we go. So the Ethernet cord is now through. We did it. So it sure isn't the best looking, but as soon as we cover this up with the siding, we should be okay. We got the wires through that we need. I'm gonna cap off these doorbell wires. That will prevent the doorbell from ringing when we don't want it to ring. And then we'll cap off the wires. We'll probably tuck them back in the wall a little bit. That way we can still grab them if we need to. There's plenty of Ethernet cable slack here, so I'll push the Ethernet cable back through. I'll probably make a cut here, crimp it here, and then push it back through. That way we have just enough for the doorbell as well. So I've gone ahead and trimmed this up and kind of capped it off with the electrical tape here. I trimmed them to be different distances, so there's no chance that they will touch. But I will also go inside and unwire this from the inside, potentially unplugging the doorbell ringer sound, because we do have the chime that we got from Ubiquiti, which will make the doorbell sound. Okay, so this cable is a pain to crimp. So you'll see we're getting it through, we're making progress. And this is the point where everything went wrong, and I realized that I might have to redo all of this. Not only was this cable a pain to crimp, it took me quite a long time, which I can usually do them in 30 seconds to a minute, but I also realized this is not gonna fit on the siding on the house. So it may fit, but there's not enough flex in the wire for us to be able to do anything with it. So my dad had the idea, he's like, I think we need to have a thinner cable. I was like, oh no. So that's what we did. So we basically, all this work that you just saw, gone. And we had to rerun the entire wire again. We pulled the thick wire through and pushed a new wire up, and this new wire was very thin, and it worked out a lot better. So the doorbell works, but it looks like I'll need to do some extra soldering. As you guys can see, I am literally connecting every single individual wire together on these Ethernet cables. There's 8 pairs, they're all connected together. Unfortunately, the keystone idea was not working, which that's the keystone right there. I tried to punch down the cables or the little wires, and that was not working. So unfortunately, looks like I will need to do quite a lot of soldering to get these cables connected and make it look all nice and pretty. Unfortunately, these wires are also extremely small, so this took quite a long time just to connect them together. It's gonna take even longer to solder them, but it's working, and that's what matters. So unfortunately, I did have to solder all of those individual wires together, which was a pain, but that got us the thin cable that we needed to make this happen. Because of how the doorbell mounts, it doesn't make sense to have a thick wire there. You want a really thin wire, and this wire probably shouldn't even be outside, but it is. So I guess it really doesn't matter though, because the doorbell works.
And here's what the doorbell sounds like and looks like. As you guys can see on my video, I'm standing very close to it. Here's someone standing back here. The doorbell looks very nice. I walk up to the doorbell. I can press the button to ring it. You'll see there's a light that illuminates the floor, and it makes the ringing sound as well.
So let's recap. What's good and what's bad about this doorbell? Well, the best thing in my opinion is the price. This thing is only $99. Now for this price, I think one of the biggest downfalls that it has is the fact that it is Ethernet only. And honestly, the Ethernet only was one of the selling points for me. But at the same time, I realized that after installing it, it's a pain in the butt to do Ethernet only for a normal house like this. We've had a Ring doorbell for years, and we're so used to the Ring doorbell just having the 2 wires in from the doorbell connector on the wires that the Ethernet was kind of a pain in the butt. But what we do get is now we have a nice hardwired doorbell. We don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. We don't have to worry about power, anything like that. It's all fed from the same switches that our cameras, our Wi-Fi, everything else is from, and it's backed by a UPS battery, which is one of the biggest exciting points for me, because if the power goes out, our doorbell still operates. Now, our Ring doorbell did have a battery, but that also, again, relied on Wi-Fi, relied on all these other things. It's like, I don't even trust the battery in that doorbell. I'd rather use the UPS battery that we have in the basement. I think the next best thing about this doorbell is the video quality. I will put a picture on the screen of the old Ring doorbell we had versus the new quality of the Ubiquiti doorbell, and the quality is so much better. Now, the old doorbell, I think, was 1080p. This one is 2K, but again, for $99, you really cannot beat the price. Additionally, there's no monthly subscription fee. It records locally to my Ubiquiti NVR, so there's really not much more to it besides the price of the doorbell, the price of the chime, which was $60. It connects to Wi-Fi, as well as the initial setup fee for the NVR, which includes like the hard drives and the actual NVR itself. So there's really no monthly fees. We're going to be saving a ton of money from Ring, and that is a win in my book. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments below. I do really good at responding to them, so if you have questions, again, let me know. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you around in the next videos. Have a great day, and goodbye.